Yes, yes. Welcome to the match preparation video for Morton City Excelsior versus Grange on the 15th of February 2026. This is going to be a significant fixture, boys. This team will be well and truly up for it. I'm told they have three players from North Star who've defected after North Star were relegated to Division 4. They will have a point to prove because there was quite a bit of feeling about our fixtures against North Star, which is fine. And we also know that there are players that were with Grange who are now at Morton City Excelsior. So I think that we can safely conclude they will be approaching this game with quite an aggressive intent. It's also my understanding that they haven't really had a preseason. It's my understanding, given or based on a Facebook post from last night, where the Morton City Excelsior are still attempting to recruit a coach for this group. So, in the absence of that, it's likely that they probably won't have a well-formed style of play, method of play, having not consistently worked with a coach. And that's probably going to mean that they're going to lean into a physical approach to the game. And we will need to match that, because if you don't match the physicality that another team brings, then you're going to end up just basically getting bullied. We saw that happen when we played this team last year. And we went 5-0 down in the first half. Look, we came home and came back and won the second half, which is great. But, at 5-0 down, you're giving yourself a lot to do. So, with that in mind, what I have is a few key points and some discussion on the squad, and then we've got some video stuff just to focus us on where we can improve on our performance last week. If we go first of all to the squad for tomorrow, we can see first of all having a rest for this round based on the 18-player rotation policy, which we've got in place, is Luca and Major, which then takes us to our starting lineup. Nathan starting up front, Danny starting in behind at number 10. It's going to be important. Like I said, there will very likely be a bit of niggle out there, and there will be, I'm told from various players within our team, that a lot of them have been running their mouths. My personal view is we just say nothing to them. Nothing at all. Don't even acknowledge them. Don't even talk to them. If one of them says hello, say, yeah, hello. And that's it. No conversation, no chat. Focus on the job at hand. It's more than likely that that we can expect a significant amount of just shit chat, for lack of a better word. And that's fine. Let them distract themselves all they want, carrying on like that. We will simply focus on our football and focus on supporting each other. So any conversation will be directed at our teammates in a positive way. Starting on the left will be Mal, and starting on the right-hand side will be Will. We obviously have spoken about Will and Hayden in particular, and their desire to play as inverted wingers. Now, we'll see how they play it, because last year they played a very compressed style, very much through the central channel, didn't use their width a great deal. There's only really one player that I remember that used a lot of their width, and that was their number 17. It was quite technically good and quite fast. So we will have to be mindful and keep an eye on him. I don't know what number he'll be wearing this year, but everybody tends to know him, as is the case with these fixtures. In the middle of the pitch at number 8, box to box midfielder, we have Riley starting, and we have Max starting in defensive mid. This is basically to account for what I'm expecting will be a physical start to the fixture. It's probably going to be exacerbated by the conditions. The conditions are going to be a little bit wet. That's going to kind of make things a little less technical, maybe a fraction slippery. At the back, we have Francis. So the fullbacks are Francis on the right and Luke on the left. I believe this makes us very stable and very solid at the back, because honestly, Francis is just like a dog with a rag at right back. Does not give his opponent any latitude whatsoever. And then we have Zach and Isaac in the centre-back positions, obviously with Mick at the back. Now, we're going to have to try to make sure that we minimise the amount of shots or balls that they get into the box or get at Mick, because if the conditions are slippery, it's going to make handling difficult. So if we can keep the ball out of our box, that's going to make things a hell of a lot easier. On the bench, we have some fantastic options. We've got Zach, who offers us a lot at right back, in particular moving forward. We've got Ollie. We all know Ollie's attributes. And in a game like this, that will become very handy to come into that midfield position and stiffen us up. We then have Hayden, who's on the bench, and Benji. Now, Hayden and Benji, I plan to use you two in a similar fashion. You're both smaller, more agile, and quite fast players. My suspicion is that this game, after an initial softening up period in that first 10 to 15 minutes, I think it's going to open up towards the tail end of the halves. And what that's going to mean is that there's going to be opportunities for you guys to exploit against players who are perhaps going to have fatigued legs. This will become particularly evident in the last 20 minutes. I think it's reasonable to suggest that these guys are going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and that's fine. But that kind of intensity tends to burn out relatively quickly, which means that there'll be opportunities for us to really exploit in the last 20 minutes. Now, obviously, we play 80 minutes of football, but I think they could really open up in the last 20 minutes of the game, and that could really present an opportunity for us to exploit opportunities in the last 20 minutes. Luke Payne, once again, your ability to scrap for the ball, being a natural left footer, your shot from outside the box. Boys, shots from outside the box, as long as they're calculated in the right spot, in these kind of conditions, especially if we have attackers following through. The goalkeeper from Capalaba was one of the stronger goalkeepers I've actually seen at academy level in our games. But I don't know whether you noticed, but when we had players coming through, even with shots that were relatively simple, if you get people running through looking for the crumbs, you attract their eyes, you distract them, and you can potentially create a mistake which gives you an opportunity. So on the whole, I'm very happy, as I always am this year, with our squad. We're strong across the pitch. Now, the summary of what we're going to focus on. Our key points, there are 3. We must compete physically for the duration of the game. We must win the 50-50 balls, and we must compete with them physically. There will be times when you simply have to compete, put your body on the line, and retain that ball. And it may well mean that you get fouled, but you cannot get knocked off the ball. You have to win the ball. And you win the ball, you can then, you survey your options. Maybe you can drive, maybe you can find an easy pass and retain possession. Intensity is going to be extremely important. It's misspelt there, but no more. That means pass, support the pass. Now, when I say pass, support the pass, it means find the pass. So quickly find the pass, move the ball quickly, and then reposition and stay alive so that you can either receive the ball again and support the ball carrier, or maybe just drag a defender with you to create space. Either way, there can be no passing and then watching, or watching someone else on the ball. Be useful, not useless. Shape and discipline against the ball will be extremely important. No matter whether these guys play narrowly or whether they use the width, we're going to have to adjust our shape and be disciplined in maintaining our shape. And that's at the back 4 and up front. It's discipline that starts from the very front when we press the ball. Now, in possession, to get a little bit more specific, obviously, intensity, pass and support the pass. I've spoken about that. Find the space and exploit. We have a big pitch. Lantham is one of the biggest competitions one of the biggest fields in the competition. So find and exploit the space. We have excellent wingers on our side. So we need to find the space and we need to exploit it. We also, when they then attack and drive, and when they provide us crosses, we need to get bodies in a position to get on the end of those crosses. There were numerous crosses last week, which we just didn't get anyone attacking the far post or attacking the middle of the goal. So we need to improve on that. It will get better as we get through the season, and we understand what our wingers are going to be doing, and we will practice on timing, driving into the box to get on the end of those crosses. But for the time being, we just have to make the effort to make that extra run. We have quality players on the bench, so you can burn up your energy, and if you need a breather, we can give you a breather. Finally, patience and value possession. I really want to value possession. If we can control the ball, it's a hell of a lot more fun watching them run around, try to get the ball off us, than have to run it around and get it back to them. We are, throughout this season, going to build into a team that controls the ball, okay, and controls possession. And we demonstrate patience in moving a team around and figuring a team out to create quality opportunities, rather than just playing a little bit like basketball, end to end to end, and just accepting whatever opportunity we have. Okay, that's something we will build on, but I want us to start building on that game after game after game. Now, when we are out of possession, we need to have discipline against the ball, shape, discipline against the ball. We were really lacking that in the first 4 minutes against Redlands, and I wouldn't mind betting that if we do the same thing against this Excelsior side, they will hurt us. Okay, because last year they had some boys who could hit the target. If we give them those opportunities, they will very likely jump on them, and I think they'll probably be a little bit stronger than they were last year, if I'm completely honest. As always, dictate the direction of the ball. We can use our shape, we can use our energy, we can use our press to dictate the ball off to the flanks. Okay. I don't think they want to use the width, so if we force them wide, it plays to our advantages. If we force them that way, dictate the direction of the ball. Once we create mistakes, once we create loose balls, that's where we engage the press and win the ball. Once again, though, we must match physically, and we must win those 50-50s. So all of those points, okay, which we will go through tomorrow. And I expect that we will be playing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be recording this, boys. Yes, it's currently raining as I look out my window, but Grange apparently only received 2.4 millimetres today. As we speak, the FQAL, I think, 2 side, so our top team, are currently playing. Now, what I'm going to do now is go to 409, and we've seen this in the review. Okay, so this was Redlands. Now, this is good. As we stand now, we have our back four. We've got the centre backs managing things. Everybody's where they need to be. Now, the ball gets a little bit scrappy. But if we look at the movement, in this instance, it's the right back just continuing to drift forward, not noticing that the player they're marking is going the other way. As the ball turns over, now this position here, this positioning of the right back, have to be marking your man, preferably goal side, but certainly back and in line so you can cover that run. As it runs, okay, and now what we have is the problem here where we've been caught out of shape. We've shown a lack of discipline in maintaining our shape. And as a result of the right back being out of position, this guy is wide open with a lot of space to run into. So all of that along here. So all they really need to do is for one of these chaps to recognize that that's where the opportunity is, and then lob the ball anywhere in here, and we're in strife. And as we see, that's exactly what they do. Now, we're just fortunate here that guy's obviously heavily right-footed. Mick's done a really good job of getting himself into the right position, and we've managed to avoid that. This is 30 seconds in. We've almost got caught on the hop. Okay, we cannot allow that to happen again throughout the game, especially at the start. And then, as we move over to here, we've got the same situation here. Now, it is difficult. So the threat is wingers here coming through onto the ball. They break through the middle. Luke has stepped up and you can see his eyes firmly fixed on where the ball are. He's not watching his man. You remember Liam telling you at night time, move when the defender cannot see you. And then as it unfolds, Luke's caught out of position because he's watching the ball, not his man. He's determined. He's just being too aggressive, really. So Luke at left back, he's in that position, and that creates this opportunity for this guy to run through onto the ball. And as we roll it through, that's exactly what he does. And that then creates an issue because they're in behind. And this is effectively what I try to tell us to do, is to try to play through them, because he's going to run on there. Luke's out of the game in this situation. This guy's going to run onto the ball. He has two targets, both of whom have slipped through, because we would be expecting that ball to be cut out or go wider and not present an attacking threat. So all he needs to do is curl something over this way, and then we're in a pickle, which is exactly what he does. Puts through a really good ball. As it turns out, this guy's got no left foot whatsoever, and just basically dribbles it into Mick. That's fine. Now, in terms of press, so we'll flip it the other way, and we'll now have a look at our press. There's only a couple of really small points that we need to mention in our press, and we mentioned them in the pre-game, but we'll just remind ourselves of it now. Now, this is particularly relevant for you, Nathan. Okay, so the ball there. Have I got the right section? 26:30. Something's gone astray there. So we'll just move on to 61:28. I've obviously got my timestamps wrong. Okay, so in this situation, this is notice there at that point in time, what Nathan does, which is very, very effective, is he started his run here. He starts to go towards, and then he does a little jink, and then he shapes. Now, that little jink basically means that this chap's not really going to want to play it back to the goalkeeper. So straight away, what we've created, because we've isolated this guy, we've created a 3-on-3. So we've dictated the direction of the ball. We've moved them to the sideline, okay? We're probably a little bit further back than I'd like. I'd probably like our midfield to be a bit more compressed and engaged, but they're trying to stretch the field. And then if you watch as it unfolds, and now Nathan has cut this guy off, it's effectively a 3-on-3. Mal's over here, so he's not going to go into the middle of the pitch here. And we close them down because we've got a 3-on-3, so there's no real way out of there. So that's a really good example of curving the run. If Nathan runs straight to the ball, then the back pass to the goalkeeper remains an option. In terms of playing out, this is just an example of what happens when we use the ball well. Okay, so we'll go back to this. Okay, so we've got the ball here. We pass it over to Luke. Luke's got the ball. I think I've got to go further back than that. That's not what I was after. Okay, so the ball goes back to here. So they go long, we win it. Major wins it, ducks back, kicks it back to Zach. Now, this is good. So Major has picked up the ball here, had his back to goal. Zach has dropped in to present. We have Mick here. We have midfielders there. So we've effectively got a 5-on-2. So this should be a pretty easy situation to play ourselves out of. As you will see, the pass will go from Major. Whoop. Stop cover. The pass will go from Major to Zach. From Zach to Mick. Mick passes it over to Luke. And then we've opened them up, okay? The only thing that I'd suggest here, Zach, you just probably need to be supporting him a bit more. Major, you need to have recovered more, or the other centre-back has to have recovered because you're out of the game over there. You need to be where this guy is. So the centre-back positioning in this situation, Major, you need to have recovered, be doing less ball watching and be here. And Zach, you need to be stepping up. But this creates opportunities. Now we find the ball, up. Max leaves it go. Now, really good check there. This is a good example of what I'm talking about when I talk about playing through. What I don't want you boys to think I'm saying is that we always have to play back, okay? Because we don't have to always play back. In this situation, though, because we've broken, we haven't allowed them to get their line set, there's channels that we can exploit, okay? So this here is a channel which Max can exploit. Male owns this space. He can get in behind, okay? And we've also got this space over here, because if you can see, the defensive line is slowly going back, but they're in two minds. They don't know whether to hold the line and stay on Nathan or slide back. And that's perfect, because in this situation, we have got an abundance of opportunities. A really good opportunity in this situation really is to find Max, and then Max has a shorter pass here to Riley. He has a longer pass to Will. He could probably check and play Mal in behind, or he's even got the capacity to dribble in and see what unfolds. But in this position, we've got these guys at sixes and sevens. Now, if in that situation you can't play through, okay, so if the opportunity to play the pass is there, if it's a good pass and it's a good opportunity, then play it straight away. But if not, what I'm saying is we just retain the ball, okay? So you could pass to Max there, or you can pass to a supporter, because you're often going to have a midfielder in support, or even Luke, who might drive up and support the play. In this situation, Luke, you're probably ball watching a tiny bit there. You pass the ball and then you're kind of clocked off. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so he's got the ball in behind. Really good ball. Max doesn't quite get on to win it. However, we win. Well, we almost win the second ball. Probably bring that down with your chest next time, Ollie. So that is Arak the Baby. And now we've just got some attacking moments. Okay, these are much the same theme as what I was talking about. We'll just roll through them until I feel as though I've met my coaching goals from this. So this is a good example. If we have a look at where they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. The defensive midfielder, this guy is getting sucked in, but we've got the ball and we're on the break. Not sure who number 9 is, but that's a good position. Okay, so we've got midfielders in behind. So this is a good opportunity. We've got opportunities. There's not really a through ball, because they're actually doing a pretty good job of keeping that. They're doing a pretty good job of keeping that line. So they've got their line in position and they're flat-footed and they're watching. This guy's out of the line, so that does present opportunities in behind for Male. But if we let it unfold, now as we dribble in, you notice these guys are going, all right, do we come at the ball? Do we drop? We don't actually know. And what you want them doing different things, because at the moment what they're trying to create is a position where they have got a good solid line that's hard to pass through. In reality, we've got them like that, which is a better way to be. However, if we can create a situation where they're actually doing different things, so this guy's standing still. Oh, God, jeez. Where this guy's standing still, and this guy's moving forward, and this guy's moving back, and this guy's moving back, because so what we suddenly create is a situation where we've made their line even more jagged. It's like this. And what that means is it's easier to play players through through their line. So we've got, I think that's Luke Payne there. So that creates the opportunity for Luke Payne to get to execute a run that takes him in behind. It creates an opportunity for Luca to run and exploit this width out here that he's created. So we'll see how it folds out. As it turns out, it goes to Nathan now. Relevant here is that Nathan's got his back to goal. Okay, so that makes it difficult to play through. We don't need to be in a hurry. If you can get that ball, so if you can receive the ball and then you can turn, well, that's really, really good, because we've got Mal running through there, and then Mal's through and can go on to goal. On the other hand, you can take an easy option An easy option would be a short pass to Luke Payne, and then Luke Payne has the ball, and then Luke Payne he's facing goals already. So that's what we really want, is we want to get players facing goals. So he can dribble in and he could potentially draw in a defender. Okay. And if we let it roll through, what ends up happening is Nathan effectively creates this situation by letting the ball roll through. I'm assuming he got a call. Now, straight away, and this is the advantage of moving the ball around and manipulating their defenders. This guy here, he didn't want to come in because he knows that he's got Male outside of him, okay? And this guy's being drawn to it. And this is what I'm saying with respect to doing that and making defenders make decisions individually. Look at that for a backline, okay? Like it's ridiculous how that's not the backline that you want. We've got the ball. We're facing forward. We have give me the circles, would you please? 1, 2, 3 players who could all benefit from a short pass, okay, to play them through. We've also got the situation where a ball through here to Mal will allow him to run onto the pass, receive it, and then he can dribble and shoot and score. Okay, so this is the advantage of of playing back to go forward. We don't have to be too aggressive with our pass. We make them make decisions, and look at, they're all over the place. As it turns out, really good ball, and yeah, I'm not convinced he was offside there, if I'm completely honest. But anyway, you do get that. It's disappointing, but it's good play, and if we keep creating opportunities like that, then sooner or later we will get one. This is another example of a really good drive. So Luke's driving. Now notice what Luke doesn't do is he doesn't try to create the stupidly long pass, okay? What he does is he plays it in. Now, Nathan's got the ball. These guys are running backward. Once again, have a look at their defensive line, okay? They are all over the shop. So in this situation, with a team that controls, like if you're watching Premier League football, for example, and a team's got this situation, they carve them up. Luke has allowed himself to be offside, so that's a problem. And that will happen. But if we have a look at this, we have players stream this space here. Male owns that. This space here, I can't see who that is, but they own that. I don't know. I think this is Danny. Danny owns that. So in this situation, there's no need to be too aggressive, Nathan. If you can get yourself some space and play the pass that you want, then that's fantastic. So if you can free yourself and you can either play this pass to Danny or you can play a through ball to Danny, that's fantastic, which is exactly what you do. And that's exactly my point of playing back. I think, unfortunately, it gets caught up in Danny's feet and it doesn't work. So anyway, the idea was right, because if Danny gets onto that ball, okay, if we can take it back a fraction. Oh, God. So we'll watch the break. So Luke breaks. The most impressive thing about this is Luke picks the ball and he finds Nathan. It's a really, really good pass. Now, if Danny receives the ball here, he has them completely at his mercy, okay, because he's got Mal outside. Mal has all of this space, or Danny might well be able to drive beyond the defender. And if he can drive beyond the defender, he can then dribble at the goalkeeper, okay? And he can basically play Mal in, because if he can dribble at the goalkeeper, Mal stays wide, and then Danny squares it at the last minute, and Mal scores. So, we are creating very good opportunities, and we're creating really good opportunities by playing through them, okay? So 6:43, 43. This is just another example. So what I'm trying to do really is highlight. This is really good. Will has checked back. Now notice, and this is a really good example of how we want to play. Will has basically a basketball team in front of him. Look at it, there's 5 of them. But what he's recognized is that the space is over behind. All right. So he's got his eyes up. He's taken the time. Getting a call helps. Now we've got these 3 boys here streaming forward, but he's realized that we have I think is it Luke? I don't know who it is. Anyway, but he's going to send the ball out here. So this is good because rather than try to force a pass, like if you try to force a pass through these boys, that's a nightmare. You're never going to feed the ball through there, okay? So that's exactly the right pass. Notice they're all running backwards, okay? So then if we play it, probably not the best pass that we could have. Now, here we are, we're in this situation. So they're recovering, but have a look at the advantage that we get. Now, they haven't reformed their line, so they're all over the place at this point in time. All over the shop. They're still all over that side. What Mal will recognise is he will recognise Max's run, and Max is going to run this way. Mal plays him in. Now, in this situation, something that we need to get better at is supporting the ball carrier. So in this situation, we've got a lot of people. You can see everybody watching. Max is a really good passer of the ball. And to be completely honest, Max's preferred option in this situation is going to be a square ball. And if we can get people running through onto the ball, see, everybody's watching. Like everybody's watching. Someone just needs to do the work to support that run. Now, I would argue as we get better, so if I trick it back, okay, we trick it back, ball goes over. Now, Max has recognized what's going on, and Max has done this. It's a really good diagonal run across the field. But in this situation, what we need to realize, so Nathan, what you need to realize is if Max is doing that diagonal run, he's going to need a square. So as Max starts to run that way, okay, as Max starts to run that way, you need to start to get yourself in a position to make that run through for a square ball. Similarly, once you pass that, Mal, what you need to be doing is you need to be doing the same. You need to be getting yourself through there to get onto that square ball, because that way, if we can accomplish that task, then we have you coming through, and then as we see it unfold, once Max here, notice they haven't tracked across. There's a yawning gap. There's a goal in the form of a tap in here for anyone who wants to make that run to get onto the end of that cross, okay? So support the ball. Pass and support the bar. So support the ball and support the ball carrier. This brings me on to the next point. We got better as we got through the game, but we really need to attack and get on the end of those crosses. So I'm going to take us now forward to here. This is later in the game. Similar, Riley's free, Mal gets on the ball. Now, puts it in behind. Riley's on the ball now. In this situation, they've got more players there. We haven't got a lot of boys forward, but they're all ball watching. Riley squares it. And almost, okay? But if you bust a gut to get there, okay, you will get there. Look, I'm going to call it quits there because this is a pre-game, okay? And I don't want it to drag on too much. I believe I've illustrated my points. So I'm expecting that we will play because they're currently playing, and I suspect if they play tonight, unless we get a deluge overnight, the decision will be made at 7 o'clock in the morning that we will play. So watch this, take it all on board. We will talk about it more in the morning, and let's sort these bastards out. Honestly, let's just sort it out. They have been shit talking all week. So let's go out there tomorrow and put them to the sword. Okay. I need you to put a little bit of hate in your hearts and go out there and show no mercy in how you deal with these chaps.